Welcome everyone to Formula Worldwide. Why do I always mess that up? It's my own goddamn league. And look, I'm messing myself up with this speaker madness. Oh, it's as if I have no idea what I'm doing. Welcome everyone. Formula Worldwide Leagues presents Friday Night Lights, and I am your host, JimCab, founder, cranky old man, and terrible, terrible esports tracer. Ooh. We are riding on board with Harmless Target, making a return after, I believe, a couple of absences, race absences, from his V-carb seat. Happy to have him back. It'll be interesting to see what he can do here on the streets of Baku. We were supposed to race here about 3 weeks ago, I believe, when the real race was in Azerbaijan, but we had really shitty attendance, and Gifted called it. Now, luckily, on the previous Wednesday night for WTF Division 2, they actually had a near full grid, I believe, that night. Quali was done, and then shortly after the race started, everything kind of went haywire, and they had to call the race. But as per rules, we decided, we did put it to a vote, but we could reschedule the race. So we rescheduled it for this week and pushed back our season finale at Circuit of the Americas by a week. We'll get a little bit closer to the actual race. I think we'll be racing there the Friday, a week before the in real life Formula One Grand Prix of the United States. Meanwhile, we're riding on board with Harmless Target, the first person to be out on track, setting hot laps. Just double checking on my live telemetry, make sure that's being all captured. And now we're just going to go straight to our standings. Let's take a look here. Harmless Target, unfortunately, has... Oh, I'm in the wrong database. You'd think I was some sort of professional or something, you know? We'll have to restart my data application. We're still riding on board with Harmless Target in the V-carb, coming down the front straight. This is the longest straight on the calendar, if I'm not mistaken. Topping out speeds of well over 320 kilometers an hour. Being the first one over the line, he sets a time of 141.032. TTV is out, but he's invalidated his lap. We're going to follow along with Ibazi Skies in the Alpine. Nick Arrow has set a 137.824. So, I mean, clearly that lap from Harmless was not indicative of pace, but he has been away for a while. Spicy Nookies sets a 139.281 and is immediately bumped down to P3 by Corey Lanzillo, who sets a 139.0. Down the front straight, Ivaz crosses the line, is good enough for P5, 140.179. So we do have a decent amount of disparity in the lap times, but it is early in the qualifying session with 13 minutes to go. Gifted has set up a 139.619. That puts him in P5 as we ride on board with Sketchy Bull, our current Drivers' Champion leader. Three-time champion in Friday Night Lights. Ooh, getting really close to the wall there in the castle section. Just using up all the inches there. He currently sits 16 points ahead of Sweat Randall. Sweat Randall, unfortunately, had to miss out on the race last week in Spain due to Hurricane Helene, as Sweat lives in North Carolina. So we're very, very happy to hear that he is safe and he's actually back to racing tonight. We do know that he knows people who have family members or friends who perished. So our thoughts are with all of those affected in the region, North Carolina and Tennessee, and all up down that coast. It's not fun. Anyway, Sketchy Bull sets a 138.707, and that's good enough for P2 right now. We're going to go down the grid a little bit. Let's go down here and see OG Freed. He's our full-time driver in Division 2 on Saturdays for our Euro division. Oh! And OG goes straight into the wall. Yikes. Whoa! And now who's that? Somebody else just died, I think. Yeah, him and Sweat Randall. Sweat, does Sweat have any damage? Let's see here. It doesn't look like he's got any damage. Heat Gang actually has front wing damage. Let's see if I could take a look at that there. If he does, it's really minimal. But it still might compromise his aero stability. He's currently in P12 with a 142.5. Again, that is like 5 seconds, almost 5 seconds off of the fastest lap set by Nick Aero. While we're doing all of this nonsense, we want to... what do we want to do? What do I want to say today? I've been pulling some all-time statistics. Unfortunately, we've had some database loss, and but I have been able to get some statistics from some of these drivers. So Nick Aero, who's currently got provisional pole, I've only been able to get 2 seasons of data capture, and he has 9 poles. I think we were looking at Sketchy. Sketchy's got 16 poles, but he's been with Friday Night Lights since season 4, and we're on season 11. So Nick Aero doesn't have a lot of great attendance. And when he races, he does get into a bit of trouble sometimes. But, man, this guy is a quality Sweat. He gets poles every time he comes out. I just want to see him finish a race and really battle for the championship. I've been trying to tell him this for many seasons. Meanwhile, we're riding on board with Sweat Randall. Let's see what Sweat can do. He's not set a lap yet. This is his return after having to deal with the remnants of the hurricane. And he's ripping down the front straight, 323.24 kilometers an hour. Makes it good for P3, 138.992. He pipped his teammate Arsenault by 2 thousandths of a second. Phenomenal. Absolutely crazy. Let's ride on board with Kodak Films here in the Red Bull. Oh, clatters the wall there. I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if he didn't have damage. How did he pull that off? I mean, that's going to be a terrible... it's going to be a terrible lap time, I'm sure of it. But oh, and now he goes into the wall. Oh, and then the Williams. Who is that? Is that Sweat Randall again? Yeah, that was Sweat Randall again. That's the second time Sweat Randall has come up on somebody in the castle section who's just destroyed themselves. Now, Sweat set his lap already, so this is his in lap now. So at most, it's just going to kill a few seconds of his time, but he's already back up and running and on his way out there. So Massive decided to join instead of coming to join me in the booth, so fuck him. And of course, in true fashion, he doesn't set a single lap. He disqualifies himself in quali to ensure that he starts at the very back of the pack. We're riding on board with Meow Slayer. He's one of our reserve drivers from Wednesday and Friday nights, Division 2 N1. And he's racing for Haas tonight. This gentleman is rapid. Let's see if he can keep a nice clean race and get some points here in Division 1. I know he did really well on Wednesday night. I can't tell you exactly how well he did because I was racing for a change. I did finish in 12th. It wasn't great, but I didn't die, I don't think. I think I might have hit the wall once. Yeah, early on, actually, I did. And then I had to pit early, but then I just rode out the hards the rest of the way. That's not true. I didn't ride out the hards. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's focus on this race right here. Meow Slayer currently sitting in P18. He has not set his time yet. There's 6 minutes left in the qualifying session. And, I mean, through my telemetry here, he seems to be doing okay. It's hard to tell right now. But he's just wrapping up Sector 2 and starting the final sector of this very long back straight. I mean, there's some flat out turns right here, but it's quite impressive to be going that fast. I wonder who's he getting a tow from somebody there. One of the V-carbs. Meow Slayer jumps up to P4, 138.749. Excellent. OG Freed, he's the one who died. He's the other V-carb who died in the castle section. He's currently on a hot lap and just started it, actually, so we'll just ride along with him for a little bit and see what he can do. The only other drivers to have not set laps yet are Kodak Films, who's jumped back into the pits after his excursion in the castle section, and Silkweaver, who I don't think has put up, well, he hasn't put up a time. I don't even think he's gone out at all. So we'll keep an eye and see if he does anything, or if he's just going to pull a massive and sit in the back and hope to cheat his way into a driver of the day. Now, as we ride on here with OG Freed, I'm noticing his fuel indicator is already flashing. Ooh, took a bit too much of that curve there. We do have hard fuel settings in Division 1. So if he runs out of fuel, he's going to crawl back to the pits. If he runs out of fuel here, his lap is just going to get completely obliterated because he's just going to run out. Now, is he finishing this hot lap, or is he going out into the pits? He is going into the pits. So he has not set a lap at all yet. Kodak Films is now going back out, and OG Freed has retired. So he has not set a time. He will start P18 tonight. Silkweaver still in the pits, and I don't see him coming out yet, and there is 3.5 minutes left. Harmless Target is out for another hot lap. We haven't seen him since the very beginning of the session. He clearly has improved his time because he was in the 140s. He's currently sitting P15 with a 139.903. 0.6 off of Zeke. Zeke's sitting in P14, 139.345. Zeke is super rapid. He's invalidated this lap here, and I think he's out of fuel. Is he going to have enough time to get in to the pits and set another lap? I don't know. But I was not expecting that lap time from him. Not at all. We haven't talked about TTV. He drives for Aston Martin in WTF on Wednesdays, but reserves for Friday nights. His teammates who are both here, so he filled into the empty Haas seat. currently sitting P13 with 139.331. He's on his outlap as well. Heat Gang, his Aston Martin team principal, sitting in P12 with a 139.304. That is, I don't know. You're gonna make me do math now. Damn it. It's like 27 hundredths of a second faster. So interesting. Harmless is not going for it on this lap. Zeke has retired, so he's currently sitting P14. If Harmless, Kodak, or Silk can beat that, then he'll drop to P17. TTV's on an outlap. No, Harmless is going back in the pits, and I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get back out there and set lap. But his day may be done. Well, his quali may be done. TTV on a hot lap. 139.331. I don't know if he'll be able to improve on that. Nick Arrow still sitting in provisional pole with a 137.824, followed by Spicy Noogies with a 138.688, and Sketchy Bull with a 138.707. I mean, you're talking 0.8 of a second separates first and second, and then from second up to 10th, it's only separated by 0.2 of a second. 38.74, 38.75, 38.81, 38.83, 38.93, 38.932, and then 38.994. I mean, there's just thousandths of a second separating Corey, Curtis, and Arsenault. We're riding on board with TTV. Let's see if he can improve his time. Currently sitting in P13. And Spicy has crossed the finish line. TTV actually moves up to P6. And We the North moves up to P2. Unbelievable. Gifted. Let's follow along with Gifted or Meow Slayer. Well, Gifted is following Sketchy. So we're going to watch Sketchy and see what happens here. Sketchy is currently sitting P4, a 138.707, and Gifted is behind him in P6, the 138.752. Nick Arrow has just set a fastest lap of 137.620. I don't know if these guys are going to be able to beat that. Nick Arrow certainly seems to have dominance in terms of just hot laps here. So Sketchy comes across the line. 138.707 stands. Gifted decides to dive in the pits. Is 138.752 stands. Sweat Randall coming down the front straight. Oh, it looks like his ERS is out. Well, let's see what he does. 138.8. Oh. Sweat Randall. Let's see what it comes up here. 138.816. Good enough to... Whoa, wait a second. 138.505. And that is good for P2. Crazy. Things a lot to happen there. So Nick Arrow in first, Sweat Randall in second, We the North in third, Spicy Nuggets in fifth, followed by Sketchy, Meow Slayer, Gifted, TTV in eighth, Arsenault in ninth, Corey Lanzillo in 10th. Then we've got Curtis, it's Heat Gang, Evazi Skies, Zeke, Silkweaver, Harmless Target, Kodak Films, and then we had OG Freed and Massive Noogies did not set any times. All right, welcome back, everyone. I didn't even consider what the the weather was going to be like today. But clearly, we have a nice clear day. At least that's what we're starting with. Field of 19 headed by Nick Arrow in the Ferrari. I wish I'd brought my mouse up to the room here so that I can post these results, but I am instead fumbling with this trackpad on this old MacBook because you guys need to know this information. There's so much work that goes into doing all of this. So yeah. Okay, so formation lap is on. Somebody wants to say something to me in video game chat, but I'm not doing that right now. I've always been conflicted. I don't ever really want to steal the, you know, it's lights out and away we go. I know Donut would do 5 lights on, 5 lights off. LFG. I kind of like that one. And now it looks like Nick has left the session. So, invites and requests. Let's get him in there real quick. Come on, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. There we go. Invite sent. Let's get back onto the grid. Excuse me. All right, here we go. Lights are on. Nick is not back in his seat. Spicy Noogies has a drive-through penalty. So does Sketchy and We the North. 3 drive-throughs. Yikes. Okay, sorry about that. This is kind of nuts. We've got 3 people who've got drive-through penalties now. Nick Arrow, I believe Nick is back in his vehicle because it's not ghosted anymore. Arsenault is retired and left from the session. Nick Arrow, what happened to Nick? And what happened to Arsenault? Has everything gone to shit? Are we doing a lobby glitch? What is going on? What happened to Arsenault? Okay. Wow. I'm left a little speechless here. This would have been a good time. All right, mediums to hards or medium hard. That is a really weird strategy. I don't know what's going on here, but Arsenault got DC'd and immediately DNF'd, and I think Nick Arrow got DC'd and immediately. And so here goes We the North and Sketchy Bull serving their drive-throughs. Sweat Randall continues and now leads the race. And you know what? Let me collect myself here, and let's get back to the 8 racing action. We've got Sweat Randall returning. He's got a 16-point deficit to kind of reach to Sketchy Bull. He's being hunted down by Meowslayer, who's a reserve driver here on Friday nights, and a rapid one, I will say. The both of them have jumped up 4 positions. Sorry, I stand corrected. Sweat Randall has jumped up a position, I believe, but Meow Slayer and Gifted and TTV all jump up 4 positions. And Heat Gang jumps up 7, but the biggest winner is OG Freed, picking up 11 positions off of this start, whereas We the North and Spicy Noogies both lose 13 positions as they sit in the back of the field. They are caught up with the main pack. So, oh, virtual safety car. What happened in the back here? OG Freed has now dropped down to 17th place, and he's missing a wing. And let's see if Spicy is also having any issues. But I do see here Gifted has front wing damage. I don't see any more damage on here, but OG Freed has to have front wing damage. I could see it. It's not being reported. Oh, I wonder if he doesn't have his telemetry on. That's probably why. Okay, with the virtual safety car here on lap 2, Sweat Randall will now take the lead into lap 2 with Meow Slayer 7/10ths back, Gifted right behind him, and then TTV right behind them. I mean, Team Haas is just enjoying this. It's been a team without identity this year. We had a team principal in Foe. Foe decided to leave about 4 races in, dropped down to only a reserve status, and he only picks and chooses what races he wants to get in. So, I mean, and OG Freed has now DNF'd. I think he parked it in the pits and called it a night. We started with 19, we're on lap 3, and we're down to 16. The McLarens sit at the back of the pack, despite being second in the championship. Tied in points with Williams, but second to Williams because Williams has more wins than McLaren does. And this is not going to help their cause at all. And the virtual safety car is over, and we're back to full-on racing here on lap 3. We'll be following along with Meow Slayer for a while in the Haas, who's just making sure that he keeps Sweat Randall at on his toes, hoping to maybe force an error and be able to capitalize on it. Gifted sitting in 3rd place right now, 4th in the championship. He's got a ways to go for the lead with only 2 races left. In fact, I don't think he's mathematically able to do it, now that I think about it. But, I mean, you never know. Maybe I'm missing something entirely. Or I'm just talking a lot of bullshit and filling in time because I'm doing this by myself. I don't know what to say. But while I've been babbling about that nonsense, Meow Slayer has taken over the lead from Sweat Randall. So as it stands right now, Sketchy is now up into 11th place already after having to serve a drive-through penalty. And if he manages to score some points, with Sweat Randall scoring 18, as long as Sketchy scores 2 points or more, he'll be in the lead. He'll still be in the lead for the championship. But this is lap 4 of 26. There's lots of racing to go. We do have Ivaz spun around in the back. Trying to see if he's got any damage. Can't see from that angle. Let's see if the broadcast camera will give us something here. He looks like he is damage free. If he's got front wing damage, it's going to be minimal. The tool is not picking up on any damage, and I do believe he has his telemetry on. So we'll go back to the front of the grid with yet another virtual safety car. But that's all right. It kind of just slows things down a little bit, gets everything back up to even keel a little bit. With Meow Slayer in the lead, Sweat Randall in 2nd, Gifted in the Mercedes in 3rd place, TTV. So we got 2 reserve drivers filling in the top 5, with Sweat Randall, Gifted, and Heat Gang, the full-time and team principals of these teams in FNL. All right, virtual safety car is over. Nobody's picked up any penalties, and we get back to full-on racing speed with Sweat Randall closing that gap from 5/10 down to 2/10. And let's see if he can navigate this return 2. And he's going to get that DRS right away. Doesn't have to wait very long. But he has to be careful of what happens behind him, because Gifted's got the DRS wing open as well and could be looking to capitalize on an opportunity if he doesn't make it stick. Or if maybe these two in the front come together, then Gifted can then take the gift. Thank you very much. A lot of scenarios could be playing out. Meanwhile, TTV and Heat Gang are sitting back, and there's a bit of a gap. About 5 seconds separates the first 5 from 6th place with Corey Lanzillo, the new full-time driver for Kick Sauber. And then Zeke moving his way up to 7th place for a 7-position jump so far today. Massive Noogies moving up to 9th place from last. And Sketchy Bull now in the points. So if the race were to end as it is right now, I believe that Sweat Randall would actually take over the lead. He would have 18 points for 2nd place, plus 1 for the fastest lap that he currently holds. So that's 19. And Sketchy would only have 1 point, so he would have a 2-point lead, taking back the lead in the championship. And meanwhile, Sweat Randall is saying, no, I think I want to take that lead right now and even widen that gap a bit more. And he takes over 1st place. Gifted was taking a look there as he actually has now taken the fastest lap of the race, 1:41.442, and both of them are separated by 3/10 as Meowslayer now sits in between these two, and a bit of a gap has opened up between these top 3 podium finishers if they were to finish right now. And 4th place, it's Heat Gang, has dropped back, and TTV has actually dropped into 5th place. So the battle for 4th has caused them to break away from the lead pack of cars here. The Williams, the Haas, and the oh, another safety flag. Oh, we are now a full safety car with Corey Lanzillo dead. Where did he die? He died in the castle section. Well, this changes things now. Lap 6 of 26. We're currently riding around along with Silkweaver, who's just been taking his time in the back here. We've now lost 4 drivers and down to 15. And let's see if anybody... Yeah, the top 3 drivers, everybody's coming in a pit. I mean, it only makes sense, right? Fresh hards for Sweat Randall. Meowslayer. Let's change this here. Yeah, hards all across the board. Curtis Chaos is in the pits. He's getting hards. Harmless Target is in the pits. He is getting hards as well. Oh, Zeke actually put on mediums, and I wonder if that's because he started on the hards. I mean, the entire field pit. It only makes sense to do so. But the ones who are out of sequence here, I believe, would be Zeke and Ibaz. It's not really a great time to have this safety car, because I do believe they started on the hards and then they had to switch over to the mediums, and it's going to be a challenge to make these mediums stretch all the way to the end. They're going to keep their fingers crossed for probably another safety car. Now, given that the pack is pretty close, I would love to see if this safety car will actually come in this lap. So we'll ride along with Sweat Randall. He is now our race leader. Sketchy Bull actually gained 2 positions from that. So as it stands, Sketchy is scoring 4 points. Sweat Randall is scoring 25. And they currently have a 16-point gap. So that means Sweat Randall would have a 5-point lead in the championship going into the final race of the season next week. I would love to see the safety car turn his lights off. No, he would have done it by now, actually. So we're going to go around one more time. That could help out Zeke and Ibaz, but it's still going to be a real stretch for those guys. So let's take a look at some of these stats here through the standings. So we'll take a look at Sweat Randall here. Sweat has gotten 6 podium finishes this season. He's got a single win, 2 P2s and 3 P3s, with his best qualifying position being P2. And I think he matched that tonight, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be interesting to see if he can hold on to this and claim the win. Meanwhile, Meowslayer in second place. He's currently 13th in the standings, and and that's only from 2 races. 23 points, finished 3rd place. So I mean, that's some pretty good. He's in the top 20, and he's only done 2 races this season. That's very impressive. Next up in the order is Gifted. And Gifted is currently sitting in 4th place. 2 championships Gifted has in FNL. And I know he would love to have a 3rd one, but it's not going to come this season, unfortunately for him. Behind Gifted, we've got its Heat Gang. Its Heat Gang currently sits P10 in the in the Drivers' Championship. His best finish was a P3, and his best quali was P4. That may change tonight. No, I don't think he had a better than that quali. I should just switch back and instead of babbling and making up stuff. Yeah, he was low tonight. He was P12 So the safety car is coming in. Sweat Randall has control of the pack. He's going to give the safety car some room because he doesn't want to be used to safety car. It's really interesting. I think he's carrying a bit too much speed. So, well, I mean, maybe it's not too much speed. Maybe he's like, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do. And we'll stay kind of close to the safety car. And then I'll just pull the trigger when I feel it's the right time to do it. Still weaving those tires. Ooh, Spicy Nuggets just picked up a 10-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Don't know what happened there. Another one, harmless target. Also flags. The cost and the Mercedes out there is definitely holding on to that P3 position. Oh, we got an Aston Martin on the inside of Heat Gang. Looks like he got some nudging going on. And Skeptical is now moved to 5th place on the restart. Another safety car, or is the thing glitched? It might just be my screen. I have seen this before. Oh. I do believe they are at full speed, and I don't see safety car on the map. So we're going to carry on and ignore what the graphics say there. Oh, and we have something in the back here. Yvaz and Silkweaver. And Kodak. No, Yvaz is just there by himself. It does look like he's lost some winglets. He's going to need a new front wing for sure. Okay, let's get back to the front here. Sweat Randall's opening up a gap between him and Meowslayer. If he can get this gap by the time he gets into turn 1, beyond that 1 second, he'll be enjoying that for sure. Gifted is 1.3 seconds back. Oh, and Silkweaver is on soft tires. He must have pit late or pit a second time. Not sure, but that is a very interesting choice. Finishing up lap 9. Sweat Randall in the lead. Meowslayer in second place, 4/10 behind. He's going to get that DRS on that back straight. Is that considered the back straight? Well, it is beyond past turn 2. And Meowslayer coming on down the inside, take a look. He doesn't really make it go through. He's just biding his time. But he is opening up some space between him and Gifted, which will free him up to be a little bit less concerned about what's behind him and focus on what's in front. Can he steal this win from Sweat Randall? As it stands right now, Sketchy's in 4th place, so Sweat finishing in 1st is not necessarily going to give him the championship lead back, but there's still 17 laps to go in this 26-lap race here on the streets of Baku. Spicy Noogies and Harmless Target picked up 10-second penalties during that safety car. Spicy's now up into 9th place with Harmless into 11th place, and We the North have just picked up the first track limits penalty of the day on lap 10. We the North is sitting in P12. Now can Meow make the pass in here? Makes it look pretty easy, but now of course he's going to have to defend this after he gets around turn 2. So we'll ride on board and take a look and see how this works out. See if Sweat Randall can steal this back and cut that corner quite sharply. Managed to just keep it off the wall. Silkweaver seems to have dropped down to 12th now. We the North also drop down there, and Harmless and Silkweaver are kind of battling it out. So we'll switch over to Sweat Randall here. He's now dropped into 2nd place, and look who's right behind him. The Red Bull of Sketchy Bull, our current championship leader, 3-time champion, and these, according to him, will be his last 2 races in FNL for the foreseeable future. I mean, he's had a good run of several seasons, 3 championships. Hopefully, for him, he's hoping to be on his way to his 4th championship. So, as it stands, he puts himself in a good position for next week, with still being able to maintain that lead. But Sweat Randall will have chewed into it a little bit. We'll see how this plays out for the next 16 laps. And we got a caution back there with We the North, it looks like. And now we have another safety car. He's having all sorts of trouble. He's got a busted up wing. And Harmless Target has now got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. And we have a whole bunch of cars going in for the pits again, which is really interesting. Massive is pitting, Gifted is pit, Zeke is pit, Evaz is pit, Silkweaver is pit, Harmless Target is pit. Yet Meowslayer, who happened to take the lead before the safety car came out, is out there on his hards, and so is Sweat Randall, and so is Sketchable, and so is TTV, and it's Heat Gang, and Spicy Noogies, and Curtis Chaos and Kodak Films. The top 8 stayed out on their hards. They're going to ride out these hards to the end. And We the North and Harmless Target. Harmless Hard Target had that 10-second penalty to deal with, which is unfortunate. But at least he got to serve that under the safety car. It's just unfortunate that he now has to serve a drive-through after the safety car. So sitting in P15, he's going to be having a rough time. And the field is now broken up a fair amount, so we will definitely be going for another round and probably getting restarted with green lap on lap 14. Now, if Meow Slayer were to win this race and pick up those 25 points, that would catapult him. So that would give him 48 points. Well, maybe not catapult him, but it would definitely put him into the P10 range. With just three races under his lap. Under his belt. Under his lap. What's wrong with me? He's making quick progress of moving up the Drivers' Championship in such a short order. So, hopefully we'll be going green in this next time around here. We're currently lap 13 of 26. This is our second safety car of the race. Sweat Randall is currently sitting in second place with Sketchy Bull in third. Gifted has dropped all the way to 9th place. I'm not really sure how that happened. Well, I mean, I know he pit, and I feel like he lost out some time to Sketchy, but maybe something else happened there that I didn't pick up on. May have been distracted by We the North, causing the second safety car here. And I got to hand it to TTV, sitting in P4. Excellent performance from the full-time WTF driver. So very cool to see him doing really well today. Kodak Films now sitting in 8th place. So this is good for him, that's for sure. He definitely needs some points to help move him up there. Massive Noogies also does not have any points in FNL, but I can see. Okay, safety car in this lap, just as I predicted. The field is all bunched back up together. Meow Slayer is in the lead. He's given the safety car a little bit of room. Taking his time. As he approaches the final turn in the front straight on his way to the start-finish line. Still weaving, putting some heat into those tires. Waiting for him to pull the trigger and get this thing going. There it is. Straightens out, pulls the trigger. Sketchy Bull is side by side with Sweat Randall on the inside of turn 1 on lap 14, and Sketchy Bull is now taken over second place, with Sweat Randall dropping into 3rd place. Behind him, it's Heat Gang, and then TTV dropping into 5th place. Spicy Noogie still has a 10-second penalty that he needs to serve, and P's sitting in P6. Sketchy Bull taking a peek inside the left hand of Meow Slayer in the Haas, but does not make the move. Bides his time. He does have 13 laps to go. to see if he can snatch this win and really solidify his chances for becoming a 4-time FNL champion in Formula Worldwide Leagues. Once again, the game's all buggy and it's telling me that the safety car is up in the graphics, but there's no safety car out on the course, and everybody is going at full speed. Sweat Randall currently sitting in P3, and he's actually starting to lose touch with Sketchy Bull if he doesn't play it safe here, or be careful, I should say. But I'm not sure if he's just losing track, but he's still keeping within that 7/10. It feels like he's dropping away, but then it's not. But then now it doesn't matter, because Sketchy Bull is just past Meow Slayer before he even reaches the start-finish line, takes over the lead of this race, and Meow Slayer is now relegated to second place with Sweat Randall right behind him. But of course, we have DRS is now active. So let's see, we'll have a DRS train from second to probably 11th place and see if anybody can make anything of it. Nope, not on to turn 3. We sit with Sketchy in the Red Bull, sitting in P1 with Meow Slayer in the Haas, P2, Sweat Randall in the Williams in P3, and we got some movement in the midfield with Spicy Noogies moving his way up into P6 as he battles with Curtis Chaos in that Kick Sauber. But Spicy still has to serve 10 seconds penalty either in the next pit stop or at the end of this race. It will be added to his final time. I am a bit surprised that he didn't take the opportunity to get rid of that 10-second penalty during the second safety car. And why do we have another safety car? And Zeke is now retired. In the castle section, right? That's where he was. Now, Spicy has to come in and serve that 10 seconds. I don't know. Well, at this rate, we got 14 cars left. 4 people are going to be out of points. Silkweaver is now pitting and is dropped to 14th place, with Harmless Target now moving up a place as he tries to catch up to the pack. And he should be able to, and I really wish we would get this underway once more. But unfortunately, it will probably go around for one more time. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I want to see it happen. Harmless Target has already caught his way back up to the field. Alright, well, as Silk approaches the castle section, he is just about to catch up to the field, and we're keeping our fingers crossed that the safety car will come in this lap. Please come in this lap, safety car. Please come in this lap, safety car. We would like you to come in this safety car. Why are you not coming in this lap, safety car? I don't like you, safety car. Spicy Nuggies, please, for the love of God, pick now and get rid of your 10-second penalty. I don't understand why you're holding on to it. all this opportunity. You silly, silly man. This is when I wish Massive didn't race and he actually joined me. But no, he wanted to race in this monstrosity. I gotta sit here by myself and ramble on incoherently. And what happened to my party? I thought I had a party. Why did my party die? That's really weird. My party is being streamed. My options are going to be invite only. Okay. I'm not sure what happened there. So, Spicy Manoogies has moved his way up into 5th place, and he's got a 10-second penalty. I wonder if he's going to contest it. And he's going to fuck it. I'm not going to serve it in the pits. I'm going to just submit a ticket at the end of the day and get the 10 seconds taken off. I'm bored. Let's do something fun. Who has special helmets and who doesn't? Well, Spicy Noogies definitely has a special helmet. I can't tell which one it is, though. Sweat Randall has the generic helmet that came with the game. Sad. So does TTV. Sad. Heat Gang has a helmet. I think I've got this helmet. It's a pretty neat helmet. I like the color scheme he's done with it. It's interesting. Spicy Noogies, boring, standard helmet. Curtis Chaos, boring, standard helmet. Gifted has a funky helmet. He has the same helmet as Sketchy Bull. Is that the Red Bull, the Max helmet? Okay, I think I'm back. All right. Apologies for the technical difficulties. We got the sound audio back on track, and you guys can hear me, and we are back in racing action. Even on the track, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Skibbo's currently in the lead on lap 18. Sweat Randall's right behind him, still within DRS range, and TT1 Man has now moved his way up into P3, with Meow Slayer dropping all the way down to P10. And we're going 3 wide down the front straight, and TTV now in P5. Oh, and the Aston Martin and the McLaren come together, and TTV goes around, and that's not a safety car? That's crazy. I don't understand. What the hell just happened there? Holy shit. TTV does not have any damage. Harmless target still in the back of the field. Spicy Noogies. His wing looks okay. Does it? Oh no, I was looking at We the North. Spicy Noogies' wing. Yeah, he's going to need wing repair. He's going to have to serve his 10 seconds. And he's going to rue the day he did not listen to me and pit under one of the multiple safety cars after he got that 10-second penalty. Bad. You're terrible. You should listen to me. Back to the front of the field. Sketchable in the lead. Sweat Rendell still within that 1 second DRS detection as they come around and finish Sector 2, starting off Sector 3, leading their way into the front straight. Will Sweat Randall be able to get close enough to Sketchy and make the pass into Turn 1? Sketchy's deploying. Sweat now has DRS open, and he's starting to close that gap. But it's just not enough. He takes a look on the inside left, but nothing doing. Stays nice and close behind him. Let's see if he can pull it off down after Turn 2. He's got another chance. This is a much shorter DRS detection zone. Actually, it's not. It's the same distance, but you're having to accelerate through a lot more of it, whereas the DRS detection zone on the front straight is flat out for the entirety of the zone. But Sweat Randall still sticking close to the gearbox of Sketchable, holding on to that second place. And if we look a little further back, there is Gifted in the Mercedes back into podium position with Curtis Chaos making a showing today, now sitting in P4 in that kick Sauber of his. Ooh. And TTV is retired. Please don't do a safety car. Please. No more safety car. I think the game has decided to finally give us a break. That was some wild shit. There is a bit of a gap, 2-second gap between Sweat Randall and Gifted. So Sweat can focus on trying to stick with the Red Bull of Sketchable and hope for a mistake, hope for track limits. Maybe his tire implodes, maybe he runs out of fuel. I know he would be very much happy with any of those outcomes. And Meow Slayer has now set the fastest lap, 141.011. So he will be stealing away that single point from our championship contenders, who are sitting 1 and 2 in this race, just like they are in the standings. Yeah, Sweat Randall takes another peek on the inside of Turn 3. Stays nice and patient. I have a feeling he's just biding his time. And Harmless Target has just pit. And is he retiring in the pits? Yes, he is. He is retiring in the pits. And of course, the game will throw his car out there. We are now down to 12 drivers. Spicy Noogies has fallen all the way back to P11. And he has a broken wing and a 10-second penalty. I think he's given up on life. Kodak Films, sitting in P10. He's going to score a single point. Heat Gang, sitting in P9. Might inherit P8 because We the North, who's in P7, about less than 3 seconds away, is going to have to serve a 3-second, or going to have 3 seconds added at the end of his race, and he'll lose that P7 position. And that's the way it stands right now. We still have 5 laps to go in this painful Baku Grand Prix. But Sweat Randall, oh, damn it, we just missed the pass. Sweat Randall is just taking over first place from Sketchy Bull. On lap 22, will Sketchy Bull come back and try to steal that from him and say, hey, wait, that's my first place. I want that back. But he's got DRS. You can see it in his steering wheel, but just not close enough. So we've got 12 drivers. Everybody's on the lead lap, and because of the safety cars, everybody is nice and bunched up together. There's really minimal gap. In fact, if we want to look at it here, the gap from 1st to 12th is 11 seconds. 12, just under 12 seconds. That's impressive. I mean, after you add the 10 seconds to Spicy Gnocchis, it'll be a different story, but that's all entirely a different thing there, so we're not going to talk about that anymore, are we? Sketchy Bull falling to 7/10 behind Sweat Randall. Both of these gentlemen are on hard tires. Ooh, Kodak Films has just picked up 3-second penalty. That is not going to be good for him. He is in danger of losing that single point to Silkweaver. Now, what was I talking about before? I don't remember. Curtis Chaos is sitting in 5th place. Let's go see what he has to do after we confirm. Does Sketchy... It's going to take him on the outside. That is wild. Absolutely wild. Trying to mix things up, eh, Sketchy? I'm going to pass him on the outside of turn 1. Let's do that instead. Madman, and Sweat Randall's coming right back at him again. Sketchy goes deep into the left-hand side, but Sweat Randall makes it and goes back into first place. And Heat Gang is in the runoff area of turn 2. Looks like he's back at it. And he does have some front wing damage, unfortunately. Sitting at the back of the field there. Now Sketchy, right behind Sweat Randall. He's already poking his eyes, making sure that he's visible, filling up the side view mirrors of Sweat Randall. I mean, if he could see his side view mirrors. But with 3 laps to go, once they cross the finish line here, it's going to be a bit of a cat and mouse game here, or a little not hopscotch, leapfrog. Sketchy and Sweat Randall trading off who's going to be in first place. Sketchy is surely going to pass him here. He's not even at the DRS detection zone yet, and he's already right up the gearbox. This time I'm going to do it down the inside of turn 1, and I'm going to make it stick, and let's see if we're going to have a repeat of lap 23. Is Sweat Randall going to stay right inside? Get that DRS. He does seem to fade a little bit, but he's still creeping, building up about 10 tenths, 11 tenths. And who is that? Silkweaver having an excursion there at the exit of turn 1. But with 3 laps to go, I think the game is going to spare us any more ridiculous safety cars as we follow along, looking out the back of Sketchy Bull's Red Bull, building that gap between him and Sweat Randall. With Meow Slayer now in the mix, as Gifted has dropped into P4. That is a pretty wild view, looking out the back of a vehicle coming through the castle section. And wait a second, I just noticed it's gotten very cloudy here. Could we be in danger of getting drops of rain at the very end of this race? I mean, that would certainly add to the drama today, that's for sure. Now Sweat is fading, and I think he's actually lost touch with DRS. I do believe he's lost touch. But Meowslayer has not, and he's going to capitalize on that and take over second place as they begin the penultimate lap of this Baku Grand Prix. Will Sweat Randall be able to steal that back? I mean, at this point, though, he's not going to be... He's lost out to Sketchy, and Sketchy now has some breathing room. He's actually... Ooh, he's just lost the rear end there a little bit. Meowslayer is on mediums that tell me they're only 15% worn. They sound and look like they are much worse than that. Sweat Randall has just picked up a 3-second track limit penalty, and that's really going to hurt him. It's going to drop him into 4th place, maybe 5th place. That's rather unfortunate. Let's see what he can do to try to make up for that. But I mean, given that gap is expanding again, 950, 930, he'll still have that DRS, but so will Meowslayer. Meowslayer is not really closing the gap to Sketchy that much. And under heavy braking, Sweat Randall still stays within that target. But we are on the final lap of this race with Sketchy Bull leading Meowslayer in the Haas, taking a look, getting real close. And now he's right up his gearbox. Sketchy having to defend. This will close everything up. This top 3 will now be closed up, and Sweat Randall is going to have to contend with that 3 seconds. He's opening up a bit of a gap to Gifted, but not enough to save himself from losing his podium position. Now Sketchy Bull makes a cut through, and that very fortunately did not result in a track limits, but Meowslayer is just right all over the back of him. And we are just about to finish up Sector 2 on this final lap. And as we come around this turn here, we'll be starting the final sector of this race with Sketchy losing the rear and Meowslayer taking over first place. But Sketchy will have DRS, and he's already going to pass Meowslayer, and so is Sweat Randall. Sweat Randall comes in, Sketchy wins the race, Meowslayer inherits second place, and Sweat Randall drops to 4th, with Gifted inheriting 3rd place. Things got crazy at the very end there. What a fight, right to the line. Right to the line. Curtis Chaos finishing in 5th place. Massive Noogies moving all the way up to 6th. Evaz, who had terrible times early in the race, just sticks in there. Deals with all the attrition, finishes in 7th place. A decent performance. And Kodak Films picks up Driver of the Day, stealing it from Massive Noogies, who always just starts from the very back. The game finally figures it out. But there you have it. Sketchy Bull is your winner of the Baku Grand Prix, with Meowslayer in 2nd and Gifted in 3rd. Well, there is the results. I'm going to quickly scroll through the race director incidents, and then we'll quickly scroll through the results here. But Sketchy picking up the win with Meow Slayer in second, and Gifted has joined us on the broadcast, as has Sketchy. And can I hear you, gentlemen? Meow Slayer has also joined, so I cannot hear any of you guys.
I'm here. I'm just not
There,
talking.
okay. All right, just give me a moment here. Well, that was an entertaining race and sketchy. An early challenge with having to deal with that drive-through penalty, and yet you come out on top in the last few hundred meters of that race, but fighting it out with Sweat Randall, who unfortunately, with his track limits penalty, dropped down to fourth place, so he is not on the podium tonight. But a nice return for him, that's for sure. So I can't hear Sketchy if he's talking.
I'm right here.
Ah,
I'm
there
right
we go.
here.
All right, okay.
I was waiting for you to ask me a question.
No, I don't have any questions, but I mean, well, congratulations on yet another win. You've almost put the final nail in the coffin for this championship, but there's one race left to go. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on tonight's race?
Recovery drive. That was one recovery drive I've ever seen. It's that drive through. It was Nick Arrow's AI that I think started that went, then Spicy went, then I went, and then when I saw I had the drive, I'm like, well, this is gonna be a bad day. I forgot the pit lane at Baku is very short,
Hmm.
so once I got out, I started making my way through the grid, and I just had to do my job to hold off Sweat Randall until the very end.
Yeah, and honestly, it was like the three of you had to pit to serve that drive-through penalty, and by the time all three of you came out, there was still no gap in the field. The entire field was still fully bunched up together, minus the two drivers that DC'd and DNF'd at the very beginning, unfortunately. So, but excellent recovery drive, excellent battling with Sweat Randall. You guys were leapfrogging each other several laps there. Great work, Sketchy.
Thank you.
Gifted, you finished in third and inherited that podium position because of Sweat Randall's late track limits penalty. But you too were having quite the battle with Meow Slayer at times. You were having the battle with TTV, I think, at one point, who was doing great, and then he wasn't. So, thoughts, Gifted? Anything that stood out for you today?
Yeah, it was a pretty crappy race, I guess, from my end. Qualifying was kind of eh. Really had one good lap, which was the third lap actually on my first set of tires. But I had another Moses in the Red Seas moment yet again, with just the wall of the wall of water opening in front of me.
Yeah.
Because I was watching that fight ahead of me going down the straight, and I saw Heat Gang pull over to the left and make it three wide. I'm like, that's not gonna end well, and someone's in the wall.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts on the restart there. And Meowslayer picking up yet another podium finish in just your third race in FNL, if I'm not mistaken. Um, what's your thoughts on today's activities on track for you?
The start of the race was good after everyone got a drive through. I was like keeping up with Sweat Randall, and then the safety car on lap 16 came, and I boxed for mediums, and I was like P12, and I was so worried that I messed up. But I like seven people in front of me crashed in the first two laps, so I was like P5 in like lap 20 or something. And so I actually did have a chance to get close to them. And I think I was definitely the fastest for the last few laps. But Sketchy had like a slide out of the final corner, and so I didn't get DRS on the very last straight. And I think I that probably cost me the win, which is like the one flaw of Baku, I think, is just how the DRS line isn't before the corner. But yeah, it's good. It was P2 is still pretty good, and especially from where I was.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Another great showing, though. That's for sure. Two in a row this week for you with WTF and tonight. So, um, great work, all of you guys. I don't have much else to say. It's long and lonely when you're doing it by yourself. So, but again, it wasn't the greatest of races, but we did have some excellent battles to watch throughout the evening. So that is round 11 for us. We have one race left in the season, and the championship will go down to that final race. I believe. Unfortunately, data collection failed again, wonderfully. So I will have to double check on the math, but I do believe Sweat Randall is still mathematically in it. But it would take Sketchy you losing the final race and then and scoring 0 points and Sweat Randall sweeping all the points. But we'll have more details over the weekend once I go through all the data and results. So, all right, well, let's wrap it up. Next week is our finale at COTA, Circuit of the Americas. Should be a great race to cap off season 11. And don't forget, we have F2 races tomorrow morning. We've got Division 2 for Euro is tomorrow afternoon if you're on the East Coast. Sunday is our Division 3. And then we do it all again next week with WTF and FNL for their final races of the season. Thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and come check us out again next time.